You know, you all know about the protests. I mean, at one point there were 100,000 or more protesters in and around our state capitol. They were banging on the drums. They were blowing the horns. They had signs and banners. I guess in a way I almost have to apologize because the Occupy movement started in Madison, Wisconsin 4 years ago and then went to Wall Street. So my apologies for that. But more than just the protest, I think the bigger challenge for us, at least for me personally, were all the death threats and the visits to our home. Time and time again, the protesters were trying to intimidate us. But you know what? All they did was remind me how important it was to stand up for the people of my state. They reminded me to focus on why I ran for governor in the first place. We need leaders who understand that when freedom-loving people anywhere in the world are under attack, anywhere else, they're under attack against all of us who believe in freedom.
Their message is that they're scaring away jobs. I mean, I don't see anything that has been done thus far that's productive in terms of creating more jobs. I'm not ignoring them, but my point all along has been a handful of people here don't get to trump the voices of the millions of taxpayers in this state who want us to balance our budget, they want us to do it without raising taxes, and they want us to get on with getting the people of the state to work. That's what we're talking about here.
Particularly tactics from out-of-state union bosses.
Now, the state Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald actually said that the situation at the Capitol is unsafe.
There have been protests in the weeks since this bill was introduced almost a month ago where they've come in front of my home in Wauwatosa. They've come in front of lawmakers' homes. In the end, though, you know, this is not how we do things in Wisconsin. We have plenty of passion about debates, and that's good and that's decent. And that's what America is all about. But people should not be coming into the state trying to intimidate lawmakers, offer up threats or anything else. That's just not the way it's done, at least in the Midwest. And thankfully, again, our lawmakers stood up to those sort of thuggery attacks, and we're not going to allow that here in the state of Wisconsin. We can have good civil debate.
I mean, let's really be honest. The reality is that the division here is not.
But if we're talking 540,000 signatures, which is what it'll take, and apparently what they will get to recall you.
Yeah.
That's more than just the unions, right? That's more than just union money. There's a lot of citizens involved.
Oh, sure, but that was driven. What I'm saying is that's driven by that. The reality is that the money that the millions of dollars that was poured in February attacking me in this bill, the millions of dollars spent in the Supreme Court race, the tens of millions of dollars spent on the Senate recall elections back in the summer was overwhelmingly money from unions.
I think most voters will expect all of us, Democrat and Republican elected officials alike, to change the recall laws so that we don't have this kind of wasted money in the future.
This is the insane notion that they have developed. And it's one we ought to, we can laugh about it, but we should actually pause and understand what they're saying. They're saying that democracy, democratic procedures, been in our Constitution for the better part of a century, used in other states as well. Democratic procedures are now a barrier to economic growth. So where does the natural progression of that?
Last week, innocent people were targeted in France by terrorists. These cowards are not symbols of confidence. They are overwhelmed by fear. They are afraid of freedom. They are afraid of those who have the freedom of the press. They are afraid of those who have freedom of speech. They are afraid of those who have freedom of religion. We need to proclaim that an attack against freedom-loving people anywhere is an attack against us all.
Back up! Last warning, I'm going to arrest you for obstructing. You too.
But Ron, wasn't that a direct result of the governor's action? I mean, the uprising, the 100,000 plus that showed up.
Like it was a direct result of unruly behavior by a side that lost a campaign, that lost an election, and they just simply weren't willing to sit by and accept the results of the election. So they had to, bring out 100,000 people protesting and vandalize state capitol. It was